Good evening, students. Welcome back to the class. Today we will start a new chapter, chapter number 9, Financial Institutions and Services. Which are the currency notes that are used in India? Do you know which institution has the right to print these notes? Yes, the Reserve Bank of India, which is the institution that has the right to print Indian currency notes. The Reserve Bank of India is the apex bank of India. It was established in 1935. Its headquarters is in Mumbai. Let's see more about Reserve Bank. First one, functions of Reserve Bank. The major functions of Reserve Bank of India is printing of currency, controlling credit, banker to government and bankers bank. First one, printing of currency. All currencies except the 1 rupee note are printed by the Reserve Bank of India. Second one, controlling credit. The Reserve Bank of India increases the money supply in Indian economy through the distribution of printed currency and through credit creation. Control of credit is made possible by bringing about changes in the rate of interest. Next one, banker to government. Another function of the Reserve Bank of India is to serve as the banker to the central and state governments. As a banker to the government, the Reserve Bank of India accepts deposit from the government, sanctions loans, and renders other banking services to them. Last one, bankers bank. The Reserve Bank of India is the apex bank of all banks. To advise and assist all banks in their operations is a function of the Reserve Bank. We have understood that the Reserve Bank is the apex bank which controls all other banks. Let's learn about financial institutions. Financial institutions are those institutions where financial transactions like deposits, loans, etc. take place. Financial institutions are classified into two as banks and non-banking financial institutions. Banks are classified into commercial banks, cooperative banks, development banks, and specialized banks. Non-banking financial institutions include mutual fund institutions, insurance companies, and non-banking financial companies. Let us see each one in detail. First one, banks. Banks are institutions that accept deposits from the public and grant loans to the needy subject to conditions. They operate on the basis of the general guideline and conditions set by the Reserve Bank of India. Banks accept deposits from individuals, institutions, and government. Bank also grant loans to individuals, institutions, and government. Banks give back the deposit amount with interest, and also it collects loan amount with interest. It is clear from the chart that interest is paid for the deposit accepted. Similarly, it is clear that interest is imposed on the loans provided. The rate of interest on loans will be higher than the rate of interest given for deposits. The difference between these interests is the main revenue of the bank. Commercial banks are the oldest banks and have many branches. It includes public sector banks and private sector banks. Public sector commercial banks are owned by the government. Their functions are controlled by the Reserve Bank. Private Indian commercial banks and private foreign commercial banks are owned by private individuals. They also operate under the control of the Reserve Bank of India. Private foreign commercial banks are those banks which have registered in India but have headquarters in a foreign country. Let's see the functions of commercial banks. First one, accepting deposits. The main function of commercial banks is to accept deposits from the public. Commercial banks accepts different ways of deposits like savings deposit, current deposit, fixed deposit and recurring deposits. First one, savings deposit. This scheme helps the public to deposit their savings. Banks provide low interest rate for such deposits. The depositor can withdraw the money from the deposit subject to restrictions. Next one, current deposit. This deposit facilitates depositing and withdrawing money many times in a day. These deposits are used mainly by traders and industrialists. Next one, fixed deposit. Fixed deposits are ideal for depositing money in banks by individuals and institutions for a specific period of time. The interest rate is calculated on the basis of the time period for which the money is deposited. Next one, recurring deposits. Recurring deposits receive a specific amount every month for a specified period of time. The interest rate of recurring deposits will be higher than that of saving deposits but less than that of fixed deposits. Another important function of commercial banks are providing loans. The amount of money accepted as deposit from the public is granted as loans by the banks. Banks provide different types of loans to individuals and institutions. The interest rate of loans will be higher than the interest rate of deposits. Bank loans are provided by accepting collaterals like physical assets and fixed deposit certificates. Banks also provide loans by accepting salary certificates. The loans given to individuals and institutions by accepting such collaterals are called cash credit. Another type of loan given by commercial banks to individuals is overdraft. This is an opportunity for a customer to withdraw money over and above the balance in his or her account. This facility is provided to individuals who have frequent transactions with the bank. Let's wind up the class. Today we learned about the functions of Reserve Bank and commercial banks. Hope you all understood these topics. Thank you.